Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for coming. It is Sunday morning. And sometimes you know how Sunday mornings go. You got to get started and you need to finish something, or, right before you want to go, you got something else that's happening. So I like an easy Sunday morning, but sometimes it's just not that easy. So appreciate you guys coming. Appreciate, starting just a little bit later than normal. If you guys have a cup of coffee, this is a cup my wife made. I'm a big Batman fan, so I wasn't able to grab the 49er cup this morning. This is a cup my wife made. I'm a big Batman fan, so I wasn't able to grab the 49er cup this morning. This is a cup my wife made. I'm a big Batman fan, so I wasn't able to grab the 49er cup this morning. This is a cup my wife made. I think that might have been Korey. Korey, you might have YouTube on in the background. So, but it happens. It definitely happens. So, yeah, I'm a big Batman fan, and she made me a Batman cup. So that's where we're at right now. So, how was your evening last night, David? I seen you were talking to David with Corey. That was a pretty good show, I think.
Yeah, it was fun. I've been on. I think I was on the first episode with him. It was like a long time ago. He's an okay guy.
Yeah, I think Corey had him call in a couple. I think maybe two or three times. I was on a call with you guys one time. I didn't get to talk to him for a whole long time, but he's very knowledgeable about the Browns. And yeah, I wrote Jim Otto. Shame on me. It's the center from the Oakland. He was able to catch it, and he knew who I was talking about. So that's a great thing. I've read conflicting things where it said that the Browns won 10 championships, and I do remember asking him that last time, and then I just he's very knowledgeable. But yeah, I've seen that they've won 10 and 8, and crazy, crazy, crazy. Some of these teams in the early years they were very dominant, and just there was one team I was watching yesterday. I think when I was talking to you, Corey, about how the NFL has evolved, and there was one team they went 8-0-3. They had three ties. You're like three ties. So I'm quarterback number 3. Stevo, that's my jersey number. And if you need me to kick, I can kick. So I got my jersey on. Let me show you my back. You guys see it says Pulp on the back. Yep. So you're not trading me. I'm not getting traded or cut. I'm here to stay. So today, guys, I would like to play a little game with you guys. It's the memory game. So we're going to throw a couple of pictures out there of quarterbacks, and we are going to try to pick who they are by their face, and maybe the angle of the field and their position, what they're doing. Maybe you'll be able to determine the year, or the player by the color of their uniform or whatnot. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So, shout out to the chat. We got Bebop and Tony, Stevo, of
Tony,
course, Jeff, and Tommy Huxley.
Hello, everybody.
We appreciate you. Oh, and to tell you guys, we could do this early, we could do it late, but appreciate all of you guys coming. We've hit 100 now. I'm having a lot of fun. We've been doing this for a short period of time, but we're building it, building a community. And if you can help my guys out, if you haven't subscribed to David or Corey, please go check them out, because a lot of stuff with these. Sorry about the echo and the feedback. I think we got one or two of us' settings might just be a little off. So let's go ahead and get into this. We have quarterbacks from all over the years, and we are going to see if we can get these guys' names right. So let's start. We are going to start with, we're just going to get into it. This one might be a hard one, but we're going to get into it. This is number 14, and he played a long time ago. Obviously, it's a black and white picture, right? And let's see what I have down for his stats. So he wasn't necessarily the biggest starter. He played a couple games. I don't have his stats down, but I'm going to give you guys his name. This is Tom Owen, and he was 14. Okay. Some of them are going to be really hard, and some of them are going to be easy. But if you guys haven't seen this guy before, look him up. His name's Tom Owen, 49er quarterback back in the day. And I thought I had his stats, but I don't have his stats. So we're going to keep moving on. All right.
Steve
You want to take
Bono.
a guess on this? Yes. Yes.
Oh, man.
You guessed too, Korey. You know, if you guys know anything about this guy, you want to give a little commentary about him, or a favorite play you remember, or a game he won. We can take our time on these quarterbacks.
Remember, he was like, wasn't he Steve Young's backup for a few years?
Yeah. He was Steve Bono. He was the other Steve that Joe was worried about, I believe. So I believe he also went to Kansas City, if I'm correct. Seems like a lot of our quarterbacks go to Kansas City.
Yeah, they love our former quarterbacks. They really do.
We build a good system, and then they take them and they get good production out of them. All right, so we'll move on to our next quarterback. So we have 113. Maybe we should start writing this down, how many quarterbacks we've had. We've had a 14. We've had a 13. I'll write that down. I think the numbers is going to be fun because Steve Young, if anybody knows or doesn't know, Steve Young's the only 49er quarterback to wear the number 8. So let me write that down for everybody, and we'll keep track of that. So we've had 114 and 113 because some of these numbers are going to repeat themselves, but it's a different face, different time. All right. Who do you guys think it is?
All right, Frank Tarkington. Or
Frank
no, Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett. Yeah.
Frank Tarkington was what, on the Vikings?
Yeah. I was thinking Jim Plunkett, but for some reason Tarkington came out.
Korey, what do you think? He was a quarterback on our team for a long time, honestly, from I want to say the 60s to the 70s.
Is that Jim Plunkett?
No.
Is it John Brody?
Yes. So we're going to give one to Korey, and we're going to give one to Dave. Okay. We're not keeping score. There's no points, really. We're just having fun. All right. We're going to move on to another quarterback. I think you guys both will know this one, but this one might be hard.
Jeff Garcia.
That's Garcia.
Close. Very, very close.
Hold on a second.
I'm not going to say it. You guys got to look at it. I'm going to give it a minute.
I'm just looking at him like.
Check the chat real quick, see if they know.
He doesn't look
Anybody
familiar
in the chat wants
at
to
all.
play around?
And that's the late 90s right there. No, that ain't Jim Drunken. I mean,
Jim Drunken.
What the heck was that guy's name? We took him.
14.
Always have a problem with.
All right, it's in the chat. It's Carr. It's David Carr.
Oh
wow.
Yeah,
I don't even remember. That must have been the dark days. I hardly even remember having them.
Yeah, yeah. He was what, 2010, maybe 2012, somewhere in there. He was drafted by the Texans overall. He was bounced around a couple teams, and then he made it to our team. And I think he was okay, but he knew he was the backup, so I don't think he was really challenging for the role. So, all right, shout out to the chat. We got one for the chat. We put C down for the chat. Okay, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Tarrerdome, we see you. Bebop, Tommy, and everybody. And earlier, Tarrerdome got Brody as well too. So shout out to the chat. All right, so this one, you guys might know this one. This one's kind of a little bit painful, but we got to push through.
Josh Johnson.
Thank you, Korey.
Kind of painful.
Yeah, it's painful. He was on the Niners several times. He's had several numbers. He's also been like number one. So this was the last, audition for him on the team. The last, hopefully, time he'll be on the team. I think he signed with the Eagles, if I'm correct. Tony knows for sure. But yeah, and these aren't all the quarterbacks in history. These are just quarterbacks throughout time that I kind of know, or significant. Something happened, or it's again, we have a lot of great quarterbacks. I'd like to do the whole show on a quarterback, where we can show the history of all of them. But this is going to be more of a memory game. So, all right, moving on from Josh Johnson, and shout out to Korey.
Nick Mullins.
Korey's on fire.
Yeah, you kind of see that. You kind of see the "what am I about to do" look on his face. That's definitely Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I know this quarterback because I got his jersey.
Yeah, he was a decent quarterback, but he was a backup, and there was a lot of push for him to start, but he just didn't do it. And when he did start, and we didn't have Jimmy in there, he didn't do much better. And he might have been a little bit better than CJ, but the thing I think difference between CJ and him, CJ was tough. This guy, not that he wasn't tough, but CJ took a lot of hits, and I think that's where the team had confidence in CJ. This guy, he could throw the ball and he could get it out, but I don't know. I wasn't the biggest Mullins fan. I was more of a CJ fan. So, all right, we're gonna move on to another painful memory. At least this is a painful one for me.
Oh.
Is that Gabbert?
Korey got it again. Yep. I don't like Blaine Gabbert. Nothing against the guy or anything, but I went to an NFL game and got to see him. The Bengals beat us in Santa Clara, and I was so upset. Not only did I have car issues, but got to the game, couldn't get a beer, going to the end of the game, it's fourth quarter, and are we doing any good? No, he's starting. My wife starts yelling, "Put Kaepernick in." I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, back and forth with Blaine Gabbert for a little while, but hey, sometimes you go to a different place and you're able to help. I imagine even backups have their roles. And he helped. If you don't want to say he did, that's fine. But he won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a backup. So he definitely was taking the reps when Brady wasn't. So somebody has to be the backup. So. He just didn't be our backup. So, and when he was our backup, I didn't want to be our starter. So, shout out to Blaine Gabbert. All right, we're going to move on to another quarterback who was also battling back and forth through time as the starter or the backup. And there was, I think there was a divide in the locker room when this guy was around, and there was some people saying he should start and other people saying other people should start. So that sounds like the story of every quarterback the 49ers have, right? But all right,
Pretty
moving
much.
on.
Last name is Smith, wasn't it?
Troy
Smith?
Troy Smith. Yep, we'll give you guys both the point for that one. And Korey. Troy Smith. He was a good quarterback. I think we almost won the game against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau with him. But, kept us competing. And he was a little bit more mobile. But at the time, the team didn't know what direction they really wanted to go. So, this guy could go out there and light it up, but it didn't matter. The next week, if the team didn't feel like they were going to win against the opposing team, I'm not saying we were tanking, but the mentality in the locker room was, these guys are way better than us. They're going to beat us. until we got a couple of different players on our team during that time. The mentality in the locker room didn't change. So, yep, Troy Smith, he was back and forth with Alex Smith. We had Singletary there pushing for him to start. And, again, good quarterback. He could have done really good with us if we would have maybe applied him, And I think it would have been neat to have him on the team and maybe have, like, Kaepernick on the team at the same time. They were really close in that time. But, it was either he was going to be on our team or Alex Smith was going to be on our team. So Niners stuck with Alex. You guys have any thoughts on Troy Smith? Do you remember any games that he played, or do you guys remember the Green Bay game?
I try not to remember those days because that was like kind of the end of the dark age, more or less, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
And I remember him. Play. He actually did play okay for us, but he was average, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he was too quick to run, and still he was trying to make something out of nothing, but he was trying.
Yeah, I was hoping he was gonna be our quarterback. I was wishing he could have did it, but couldn't do it.
Yes, a lot of fans were just tired of Alex Smith. They're like, he's had 7 years at this point, or 6 years. We're ready to move on from him. But then Alex came in. I think Alex came in and beat the Seahawks, and that put him back in the driver's seat for the starting role. But I could be wrong. All right, we're gonna move on to one of my favorite quarterbacks. And no, this is not a CJ Beathard jersey I'm wearing, but it could have been, should have been. But no, this is a Culp jersey, and this is CJ Beathard. Sorry, guys, I had to give it away. I kind of give it away. Sorry. But yeah, CJ was I like CJ. He came from the same school that Kittle did. They were looking at CJ, wanted to bring him in as a quarterback. So I believe they drafted him third in the draft, and not third overall in the draft, but third in the draft in the third round. And then they got him from Iowa, and that's where they seen Kittle because he was throwing passes to Kittle, and Kittle was catching everything. Maybe Kittle's the reason CJ got drafted by the Niners. They're like, hey, both of these guys are doing good. Maybe they thought, this guy could be his camp arm or something. But CJ came into the team. He became a locker room fan, a locker room, compadre, brother. The Niners grew with him as a team, I'd like to say. 2017, nobody was on our team. We didn't have anybody. This guy stood up and took a lot of hits on the team. And one thing, too, about CJ is he could throw the ball. He had a better pass than Brian Hoyer, CJ, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo. He had a better deep pass than any of them. He threw that 80-yard bomb to Marquise Goodwin. And, shout out to Marquise Goodwin and CJ Beathard. And the team bonded, so yeah, he took a lot of hits. And also I'd have to say, maybe the offensive line was gelling at the time and they didn't know where to move at, or maybe CJ didn't know, where his protection was going to be at certain times because the guys were still getting used to each other. This is my little theory is Jimmy came in and already seen what was happening with CJ. So maybe thought, okay, if I stand back a little bit further, I'll have just a little bit more time in the pocket. And if I'm a little bit more mobile, maybe I can make something out of nothing. And I think that's where, Jimmy came in and he bought us time. And we did win 5 games because he's seen the deficiency in the line in the areas that he said, okay, I need to overcome. But then once we got a better line, he got hurt. So, shout out to CJ for keeping us afloat while we were sinking. We were super sinking. You guys have any notable comments about CJ before we move on?
I honestly think Kyle was picking him thinking, Kirk Cousins type. And that just didn't work out,
No.
Yeah, I had hope for the guy him too, but he was just he's tough. Yeah, like you say, he was tough. He took a lot of big hits,
Yeah.
but he couldn't do it all.
Nah, he wasn't mobile enough, and he definitely was trying to throw the ball downfield. And I don't think he was afraid. I don't think he was able to say, "Kyle, let me go ahead and do this here, bootleg or play backyard football." He was just trying to learn the offense and conduct the field the way Kyle was telling him to do it. And he was standing in the pocket too long, and boom, and he got hit. And where Kyle's like, "You should have done this." Well, yeah, but I was doing what you told me to do, coach. And what everybody else here is trying to do is so instead of where Jimmy's like, "No, I can come in and I can play the way I know how to play and we can win some games." When Jimmy started playing in the offense that Kyle wanted to play, things changed. So, okay, so we're going to move off of CJ Beathard to another number 3 quarterback. Look at where we're going. So I got to write that down. Now we've had 2 number 3s.
That's not Carmazzi, is it?
No, I was looking for him and I couldn't find him. And I don't think I can't remember if he was number 3 or not. But
was it Rick Meyer? Some Meyer?
That's a good guess too, Korey, but that's not him either.
Man, I can't think who he is.
He looks really young.
Yep.
Let's check.
I know it ain't Tolzien. It's not Carmazzi.
The chat is popping, but no one's got it yet. Shout out to Damian Lee for showing up. Thank you very much. Tommy Huxley, CJ beat hard. No, that was the last one, of course. And then Tarrerdome, thank you for showing up. And Bebop, it's not Ken Dorsey. That's a good guess. We'll give it just a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to let everybody know. Chat.
We're in the newer one.
Joe Garcia moving from number 5 to number 3 now to play.
That's mighty young. I don't think it's Timurtay. I mean, I don't remember Timurtay's number though.
His number was 13. Timurtay number 13. He was always 13.
All right,
I don't know.
You ready for it? Cody Pickett.
Cody Pickett. See, I will never go.
Oh my goodness.
I will never get that.
I hardly even remember we had him.
Get me either.
These are quarterbacks who played a couple games. You can call some of them backups, but they did get on the field. Again, this is red face mask, red stripe on the helmet. This is the probably 2004-ish, 2005, 6, somewhere around there before we changed the helmet scheme. So this is probably Alex Smith's backup at one point in time, if I remember correctly. All right, we're going to move on. So that was the second number 3 quarterback. Shout out to number 3s. All right, moving on.
Jeff Garcia.
All right, David, let's go. Second number 5. All right. We're going to move on. See the helmet scheme? Same thing. Red face mask. So this is Jeff Garcia from 98 to 2003. I think the helmet scheme was this way, or 2005 or 6. Maybe that's those longest. We'll have to do a helmet check again on that. All right, moving on.
Hold on a second.
I know you know this one.
Well, I know this ain't Alex Smith because they just don't look like him.
Nope, it don't.
Jim Druckenmiller?
Close. Very close.
Nope. Very close, but
It's not Carmazzi, is it? I mean,
nope.
Jim Everett, not this way. Oh, the main. Oh,
Want me,
the
want me to give you his first name?
yeah.
Ty.
Ty Detmer?
Ty
Yep.
Detmer.
Yep.
He's
All
got
right.
the red face mask too. I thought that must have been like right when we switched over.
It's before we got Alex Smith, so this must have been like Jeff Garcia's backup at one time between Tim Rattay and Jeff Garcia. So, yeah, this is a lot of fun. We're gonna move on. All right. Oh, let's bring in David. Let's bring in Jon Jay. Hey, Jon Jay. Good morning.
Morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Good morning, Jon Jay.
We went all the way past midnight. We had a fun time last night.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
No worries. So, what we're going to do is we're talking quarterbacks. We're just showing the letter, the number on the front, and maybe, an action pose like this, trying not to show the jersey's name on the back. So if you know the name or you know the face and you got a little commentary in between, then we're going to continue on. So it's playing like a little memory game, quarterback memory game. So yeah, Ty Detmer, number 11. We're going to move on. We're going check the chat real quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got a great chat right now. Yeah, it looks like Brian Greasy, but it's not Brian Greasy. He's a Bronco. All right, so we're going to move on. Elvis. No, we're not going to move on. We're going to go to this one here.
Wow, that's old school.
Jim Druckenmiller, huh?
Yeah. That helmet's like 50s, 60s era right there.
I can't tell you.
I mean, is that Y.A. Tittle?
That's Y.A. Tittle. That's Y.A. Tittle. You got it, David. David gets a point. Ching, ching, ching. All right. All right. So let's go.
Elvis Grbac.
There you go. David's on fire. All right. Any commentary for Elvis? He was on the team for a while, and you might know a little bit more about him than I do, David. So
he was actually he was a really good system quarterback, and a really good backup for Steve Young. After he left us, he got the bag from KC, though. I think they had like 3 or 4 former 49er quarterbacks starting in a row back then, Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely like our we said it before, they definitely like our system. They like our quarterbacks. Okay, this one, don't jump out of the computer to answer this one, guys. If you don't know, then you don't know. But this one might be a little too easy.
My guess is Joe Montana. Now it's just a wild guess.
Yep, Joe Montana. My favorite quarterback of all time.
Look hard. Is that Joe? Or is that Joe?
Uh-oh.
We're going back to the
we got a curveball going here.
Is that Joe?
Hold on a second. Is that Frank Tarkington right there?
Frank Tarkington.
Oh, not Frank. Why do I keep saying that? Jim Plunkett.
What McNew said.
You got it. That's Plunkett.
Mm-hmm.
That's Plunkett. So you get another point.
I keep saying Tarkington instead of Plunkett. That's kind of funny.
Tarkington played for the Minnesota Vikings. He was.
I know.
All right, we're having fun. All right, so again, Jim Plunkett, Joe
Joe
Montana.
Montana.
It's fun because you start looking at these numbers and you're like, wow, we got a lot of quarterbacks, and we've had a lot of good quarterbacks. And you start looking at their numbers and you're like, So 16 and 16, both quarterbacks. Go back to Jim Plunkett for a second. Went on to win Super Bowls. So like, no one can say Jim Plunkett was a bad quarterback. They really can't. He went to the Oakland Raiders and he took them to a lot of winning games. Won a lot of games for him and took them to a Super Bowl. So, all right. So let's move on. We're gonna move on.
What?
Right.
Is that a leather helmet I see right there? No, just.
All right, this one might be hard. Let me check the chat real quick. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to think about it.
Now, Frankie Albert.
David.
I can't get the chat. The chat's gonna beat me. I can't roll with that. No, I'm just kidding. They beat me fair and square. They beat me fair and square. It is what it is.
Yep. Shout out to Tarrerdome. You got the Plunkett and this right here. You're right, David. This is Frankie Albert, 49ers first quarterback. So
that helmet right there on his side. I think that's the first helmet they actually had when they switched from leather to something actually harder. But still, those helmets. I mean, even up into the 80s, they weren't doing much. I mean, let's be honest.
No.
Steve Wallace. He had something. You remember that? How he had the helmet, but then he would like glue another helmet on top of the helmet, so he had like the double. Yeah, that guy had something.
So, our first helmet was silver. Our very first year, we had a silver helmet, and then I think we had a red helmet for 1 year as well. So some crazy history back there. And then we stayed with a gold helmet after that. All right, this one we're gonna bring on our buddy here real quick. Shout out,
Stevo.
Thank you for making it.
What's up? I just wanted to be backstage, but all right.
I was gonna say, you alive this morning, buddy?
Oh, I got my car keys, so we're all good. But these guys seem like dink and dunk quarterbacks to me. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, the West Coast offense is a lot of dink and dunk. It is in some people's better option for them to drop it short, and let the player make a play. But we're gonna play a little memory. Yep, yak. So we're gonna play a little memory game, Stevo, and we're just going over it. So if you know the quarterback, or if you have a little commentary, or you just want to watch, that's fine. But I think it's better that you're up here on the panel than in the chat. That makes a little bit more fun.
All right. So my whole thing was I don't remember what I said yesterday, so I wanted to talk to Korey afterwards. Is all.
No worries. No worries. All right, so we're going to move on.
Was that Joe Young?
Now this could be Steve Young.
It looks like Steve Young.
Look at his face. What is his face thinking right now? Jerry, what are you doing? You're running the wrong route.
I think this is him playing against the Packers, if I'm correct, but I could be wrong. But this is
Packers.
Yeah,
that's him looking downfield like, what is everyone doing?
Yeah,
I gotta run again. Jerry, why can't you get open?
They got like 5 guys.
That's a great pick, though.
They got like 5 guys covering, Jerry Rice, because he's the only guy on the team who can catch, and they got nobody covering T.O. Every time he threw the T.O., T.O. was dropping the ball. Don't even look at J.J. Stokes. J.J. Stokes is nowhere to be found. So Yeah, shout out to Steve Young. Do I got to run again? You guys are funny. All right. And you know what the fun thing about Steve Young is he's the only 49er quarterback in history to wear the number 8. There will never be another player in 49er history to wear the number 8, quarterback or player. Steve Young is the only 8. Forever young.
I mean, unless he gives it away.
Yeah, unless he gives it away. Says you can wear it, but at this point, he is number 8. He is our 12th man. You know. All right, so this would be a nice segue, from Steve Young to the next 12th man, or we could say, he definitely had a lot of things to do with the 12th man.
Colin Kaepernick.
Korey, you're on fire.
Mhm.
Does anybody have anything they want to like to say about Kaepernick? Any game moment that you remember that you probably won't forget, or did he do anything that any honorable mentions that you want to say about Kaepernick?
I know he owned Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yeah.
number 52. Number 52. What's his name on the Green Bay?
Was it Hawk?
Banner.
Or was it Clay Matthews? Clay Matthews.
Yeah,
Too.
Yeah, Clay Matthews can stand him. He can catch him.
I remember that 55-yard run against Green Bay in the playoffs. I remember
That
that.
was fun.
Or what
That was
bar
an
I was at
explosive
when he
play.
did that, man. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
My question is, why are all buff quarterbacks, like all the really greats, are not that athletic? You know what I mean? No big biceps. So my question is, why, are the really strong quarterbacks not really buff? I think there's something to that.
Yeah, I agree. You can throw the ball super far, and you don't have to have like the biggest, muscle. You have to have a muscle. You definitely have to have, something on your arm. But you don't have to have the big, lift the biggest weights to be quarterback. That's definitely for sure.
There's a difference from like being like, having muscles than being toned. Like when I was growing up, I was toned. Like my friends had muscles, I was toned. So basically, in certain sports, you need certain body types. In football, you need certain body types. So like you don't need the biggest muscles to throw a football. You just need to be toned, and
Yeah.
So that's what you really need.
And that's one of my hesitations with Trey is he's built strong, you know what I mean? So I kind of don't know if that's in his favor.
Yeah, Tarredome's right too. Kaepernick, he had a lot of different tattoos and stuff, and God is with him. God's with everyone if you look for him. And shout out to everybody. And yes, Kaepernick was a phenomenal, super, super awesome athlete. Shout out, local guy from Turlock. It's one of those things. It's like you want to see these guys do good, and when you hear that it's a local guy, then you're just like rooting for him just that much harder, right? You're like, hey, it makes it more of a smaller world. Like we can all make it, we can achieve it. Or I knew somebody who got there. So. You're not riding the other person's coattails, but you're definitely got your ear out and listening to their career and stuff. And Kaepernick's career was a little too short, but I think that was his choice. And I'm just going to say it like that. We're going to go ahead and move on from Kaepernick. He's good 49er when he was a Niner. So moving on to another number 7. Apologize if anybody hears me in the background. No idea?
Is that his name? No idea.
What was his name? I know it. I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
I want to be completely honest. I don't know.
Hold on.
Oh, wait. I want to apologize to my good friend Bebop Jones. Is that Dorsey?
That's Kid Dorsey. Bebop got it.
Shout out to Bebop Jones. Bebop Jones got it. Not Bebop Jones.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Bebop got it. Kid Dorsey was our another number 7. So we've had Kaepernick now, and we've had Ken Dorsey, and he was a good quarterback. I really was looking forward to him doing a little bit more for the team, but I think they moved off of him a little too fast. I think he got gun shy. There was a couple of blitzes that hit him, and I just don't think the team rallied behind him after that. But I think he was a quarterback that we could have had a little bit longer and put a little bit more time into him. Go ahead.
He went to Miami. He was part of those great Miami teams. I mean, college.
It was Ken Dorsey and then Tim Rattay or Drunken Miller. What was the order?
Let's see. I
want to say Drunken Miller. Then it was like Garcia that came in, and I want to say Ty Detmer was in there somewhere, and then maybe Ken Dorsey, then Tim Rattay, or maybe Ken Dorsey and Tim Rattay was on the team at the same time. But they moved off of Garcia, and I think maybe that's when Rattay and Ken Dorsey were quarterback. But I'm not positive. We're going to update this. We'll come back and revisit the show with stats when these players were here and stuff. But if there's anything that you remember these guys doing, or if you do remember, like, yeah, he played during this time, or if the chat's confident, pipe up and let us know. We'll try to read the comment. But yep, this is Ken Dorsey. Quarterback we probably should have spent a little bit longer with, but we'll see.
I know this one.
Jim Drunken Miller.
I've actually said his name a couple times.
No, it's
yeah.
not Drunken Miller. Or I'll say
Not
JT
Drunken Miller?
O'Sullivan.
Is he doing handoff? I don't know if he's doing
School.
handoff or what.
He has the QB School YouTube channel.
Yep, John's right. This is Jake O'Sullivan, and he's a good quarterback. This is one of those things that they were really proud of. Really like confident in him because he was very knowledgeable in the offense. He could tell you the play and stuff in the locker room. But when you went to see him play, they had some missteps. But he did play well enough. He was actually competing against Alex Smith there for a little while, trying to take the job away. But I think if you notice, I think his foot right here is getting tripped. And I think there was just a couple of these issues and plays that happened where there was just like not the fumble, but the bumbles, so
He was playing footsies. But no, honestly, the guy has a great podcast. I don't watch it enough, but he's taught me a lot about the QB position, breaking stuff down. Yeah. Just because you weren't the best quarterback doesn't mean you weren't the smartest, and he's pretty smart, and I admire him for that.
I know, like you can say whatever you want about his time in the NFL and with the Niners, but he shows you the preparation that every quarterback has to do. They get that playbook. They got to memorize the cadence for the run plays, the cadence for the offensive line, the cadence for the receivers and the tight ends, and then all the different motions. And that's why you have those words that you have to learn. So to be a quarterback, you have to be smart, because when someone is telling you flip right, 24, 6-8, corner out, if you don't know what that is, you don't know what the play is.
And what's funny is he was in the NFL or in the Niners system, and he'll straight up tell you, I don't know who the hot read is, and he'll admit it. And that's what I appreciate about him. You don't know.
Yeah, he does. He's got a good podcast, really smart guy, and he was athletic. Maybe we should have stuck on him with a little bit longer, but the team at that time, we were losing so many games. We were trying to put stuff together, and in between the offensive coordinators being, moved around, and us with different coaches at the time, trying to build a defense, all we had during this time is Gore, so let's just sorry, JT, you probably could have done a lot better than we give you credit for, but you got a great podcast. All right.
Alex Smith.
Yep. He's the guy that we all believed in, probably all got mad at, probably all wanted to cut and trade at one point. And then when he was gone, probably wanted him back after he left at certain points in our time.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I see Blaine Gabbert up there on the field. I was like, we could have Alex Smith right now.
Yeah, Alex Smith. It's just sad that he went to Utah.
No, that's not sad.
I'm just joking.
It's weird.
That's
It's
back in
pretty,
the good days of Urban Meyer before he,
I know.
went off track.
I
That's
know.
all I'm gonna say
I know
about
you
that.
like Utah.
his 3-finger spread is really weird to me.
Maybe if he went to Cal, he would have been successful. I'm just joking around, David. You're my boy.
Yeah, the way he's got his fingers out there, like he's blocking somebody or getting ready to shoot spider webs or something. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, what is he doing with his? Oh man, you're very detailed.
All right, we're gonna move on. Alex Smith, thank you for everything that you brought to the team. I will always remember, the playoff game against the Saints and the catch 3. And I definitely remember you beating Seattle a couple times. We appreciate that as well.
Oh my goodness, this guy looks familiar. Even
Oh my goodness, I see what you did, Brian.
Trent Dilfer.
Former
Yep.
Raven
Trent,
playing against his former team and on a 49er unit.
Yep. There's a couple pictures we could choose from, and I said, I like that one. It shows both his teams,
I knew it.
Well, if you look at the picture, it's I'm screwed. Look at the look on his face. Yeah, I'm screwed.
He's a Super Bowl winner, though, right?
That is true. He's a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yep, he won the Super Bowl, and you definitely have to be confident. You definitely have to be able to do certain things to be able to win the Super Bowl. He did have a big arm. He really did. He could really take the top off the defense, and I think that's why they won the Super Bowl. They had a great defense that carried their team, but they had a good running attack too. So you hand the ball off, and then boom, throw it super deep, and then one or two times, the wide receiver actually catches it. That's why they're winning by like 3 points, 10 points. If you go back and look at the Ravens overall, season, they're shutting teams out or beating them 13-3 or, 21-3. The other teams weren't scoring a lot of touchdowns on them, and the other teams weren't scoring more than 3 points really on them either. So if they did score like 7 or, it'd be like 6 or something like that. So Ravens defense, I think the problem with Trent Dilfer is he came to our team and he was told, okay, you're not the starter. We're not bringing you here to be the starter. And you're not really the bridge quarterback either. You're here to really maybe you are the bridge quarterback, but you're not really going to be on the field. And then Alex got hurt, and then this guy had to go on the field. And when he went on the field, it was like, crap. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't really practice. I've been walking around telling jokes in the locker room. I'm not here to do that, And maybe he was more serious about it than that, but this totally tells me, like, it reminds me of like the Kurt Warner, Eli Manning thing when Eli was, in New York and Kurt was the backup. Kurt got put in there and he's like, hey, you're either going to rock with this guy or I'm going to be your starter. I'm either here to help him or I'm going to be the starter, and if I'm the starter, it's going to cripple this guy's confidence. Well, the problem with Alex Smith is he got hurt and his shoulder was messed up. So Trent Dilfer, he came in and he didn't do much for us. He really didn't. He's wearing 12. John Brody's retired number. John Brody give him the okay. So yeah, Stevo, if like Steve Young was to say, yeah, you can wear my number 8, then it's approved by that player, but they have to get that player's approval. But Trent Dilfer, I mean, I don't know. When I see this number 12, it just reminds me we should have had Aaron Rodgers. We should have had Aaron Rodgers, but it makes me mad about Alex Smith when I see Trent Dilfer on the team because that we should have just had Alex on the team the whole year, but he got hurt. And you can't get mad that the player got hurt, but I did. I still am. We're not good if you're hurt, you know? So, anybody got any thoughts on Trent Dilfer?
I mean, my whole
when
thing
it comes to his Super Bowl, he just had to be there. You know, that team, the defense was really good. Their running game was fantastic. He just had to be there and do the don't screw this up thing, you know?
Yeah.
my whole thing with practicing is like Rob Gronkowski is one of the greatest tight ends ever, and he admits that he didn't study film, that he basically relied on Tom Brady. He also, like, when the pandemic happened, they said, okay, send your your films out of you practicing so we know you're practicing. And he would literally like do the same workout during the day, and he would change shirts and all that so he could keep sending films in, and it was only one actually practice per day. So, to me, I think practice is, I mean, this guy, what could he have been if he literally put his mind to it, so I don't put too much into practice.
Yeah, I'm gonna send Tarrerdome the link real quick because Tarrerdome wants to jump on, which I don't think is a problem. I think we all like Tarrerdome. And we're almost up with our show, but we got a couple more pictures. I think Tarrerdome will definitely bring us in some added commentary. It'll be a lot of fun because he's got a lot of things to say about these guys as well.
Tarrerdome is the Trey hater, right?
No, Tarrerdome loves all Niner quarterbacks. It's about this up here in the front, Tarrerdome, check your DM on Twitter if you'd like to come in, and we're gonna move on to our next picture, guys. All right, so we just did Trent Dilfer, okay, and you guys remember what we were talking about with like certain numbers with quarterbacks and stuff, and how they seem to be revolving or always relevant, right? All right.
Ooh.
The name's been spoken several times today. It's not Frank Tarkenton.
Are you sure about that?
I'm gonna say Rattay.
I agree.
Yep, that's Tim Rattay. I'm not a Tim Rattay fan. When I seen Tim Rattay, I'm like, you're the reason we don't have Garcia on the team anymore. You're the reason Owens got Garcia kicked off the team. You are the reason we suck right now. So he wasn't the only reason, but he didn't make me happy seeing him in the team. Didn't see, and everybody knows Nathan Z. He has a Rattay jersey. So there definitely was a lot of people out there that was, Rattay fans. So it's not that the guy was a bad quarterback. It's just he wasn't my quarterback. Welcome, Tarrerdome.
You heard the story about Bill Belichick, when he was looking at QBs when he drafted Tom Brady. Tim Rattay was on the board, and it was between Tim Rattay and Tom Brady. Did you guys ever hear that story?
Yeah, I think I did hear that. They did like Tim Rattay.
Actually,
yeah, it was like,
I never
Tim
heard.
Rattay's probably like, huh?
I never heard that, but I think it's big into where you go, judges your career. You know what I mean?
Actually, the Brady Six, if I'm remembering correctly, consisted of T. Martin, Chad Pennington, Mark Bulger, dang it. And there were three others drafted. Giovanni Carmazzi, drafted in the third round. Chris Redman. How many I got there? 4 or 5. I'm remembering that. Heath. It was T. Martin, Heath, Chad Pennington, Mark Bulger, Giovanni Carmazzi, and there's somebody I'm leaving out. Those were the Brady Six chosen. 6 quarterbacks were chosen before Tom Brady at 199th in 2000, and they've gone everywhere from alpaca farmers to I don't know where they are, but the greatest that ever did it was Tom Brady. I want to push back for a moment, man. I want to drop something into y'all's spirit. Trent Dilfer, what Trent Dilfer has done for the game of football, he and Tom House, I'm on a personal pilgrimage to get them into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as contributors. If you go back, Trent Dilfer has something called the Elite 11 that has been going on for about 15 years, maybe even more. Go back and look at those early Elite 11 and the quarterback camps. While the quarterback position has evolved so much, is because of Trent Dilfer. He gets them in high school before they become what they become. Look at those guys on the Elite 11. Trent Dilfer was developing them and had a national school getting the best quarterbacks in the country and having a competition. It's on ESPN. It's on probably you can get it on the ESPN app and things of that nature, man. And you can look at some of them on YouTube. Look at the young guys. It goes back to a young high school Ben Roethlisberger. It goes back to a young high school. You'll see guys on there that are walking into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 5 years. I know he wasn't of enormous talent, and somebody said, I don't know if it was Stevo or maybe Jay, JT O'Sullivan. Man, if you want to learn more about the position, if you want to learn more about how they look at defenses, how they prepare, how they break down who's hot, who's not, their progressions. Either you're going pick a side or you're going, I wish I could just claim all of this as Tarrerdome knowledge, but man, that JT O'Sullivan, guys like Trent Dilfer, guys who didn't normally have it, man, I'm talking your aesthetic, your eyes will pop when you get the revelation of what they're laying down. And I just had to push back a bit and tell you, man, these guys, although they weren't the most elite of the elite and had a whole bunch of Super Bowl rings and a whole bunch of stats and this and that, these guys really know that position. And as a coach, usually your best coaches, man, are overachievers who didn't have the greatest talent. I'll tell you, like a Steve Kerr. Look at the ring Steve Kerr has versus I'm a Laker fan. You ain't getting me off of the Lakers, and you ain't getting me off Magic Johnson one bit. Man, we tried Magic Johnson at coach, man, and it was horrible because when you have immense talent, Magic couldn't talk to regular human beings. He was like Superman trying to talk to you and say, hey, man, why you just can't see that guy behind you right now and throw that pass?
So
Dude,
let me,
what are you talking about? Nobody can see that. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
No, we like coming on. You always bring a lot of information. But so like we were talking about Tim Rattay here, and before we move on to our next guy, again, I'm not bashing any of these quarterbacks. I like all of them for their own reasons. They're a 49er fan. That's really the reason I like them. But there were certain aspects of each one of them's career that they didn't necessarily have control of. And there were, divisions in the locker room. I think everybody, kind of goes through that in their own career. But yes, T.O. liked Tim Rattay.
T.O. was crazy about Tim Rattay. And Tim Rattay was the
Let me get this out real quick. All right. So Tim Rattay was bigger ball, he could throw it deeper, and he was targeting T.O., right? Jeff Garcia wasn't targeting T.O. Jeff Garcia was getting ridiculed by T.O. in the locker room. He was also being made fun of by the locker room because of T.O. T.O. came out and said that Jeff Garcia was gay. Jeff Garcia went out and got a Playboy bunny girlfriend. So, he's like, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. He made a big deal about it in the locker room. Garcia and T.O. both made such a big deal in the locker room. T.O. got Jeff Garcia's out. He got him out. And we thought T.O. was going to be catching the ball from Tim Rattay. No, T.O. left too. All in the same year. So that's one reason I say T.O. is cancer. He's cancer to our locker room because you got your way. You got your way. The guy's off the team. Now you're off the team too. So, shout out to both players. They both went on to have careers in different areas. But
shout out to you, Brian. You got it 100% correct. That's exactly how it went down. Yep.
We were left with Tim Rattay and I think Arnaz Battle and Brandon Lloyd. I think those were our wide receivers for the time. And we had Rashawn Woods or something like that. The following year, he came out and said he wanted to be like T.O., but we know that didn't happen. So Tim Rattay, he did go on to play in different places. I think he went to Tampa Bay. He did go out in different places, but this wasn't the quarterback. Ideally, we had a Pro Bowl quarterback that the Pro Bowl wide receiver got upset about and said, this guy ain't throwing me the ball. But we said, we're winning games. We're winning games this way, man. You got to do your job. But he wanted the ball. So again, Kevin Barlow's on his side. All these players are on his side. And then where's Jeff Garcia trying to defend his manhood and say, I'm not gay. So when you have to defend your manhood and you're not talking about playing football anymore, I mean, yes, it's best that they both go away. And real quick with the T.O. situation, does anybody remember the Nike commercial with Michael Vick and T.O.? There was a Nike commercial that, they were putting together and it was them in green uniforms with feathers on their helmet. And T.O. was running down the field and spinning around. And Michael Vick was in the backfield making time, bootlegging around. And then they finally threw the ball and T.O. reached out and caught the ball. They were trying to build a Super Bowl team, like a super team, right? Well, yep. T.O. was supposed to go to the Ravens, and he didn't want to go to the Ravens, and he went to the Players Union, and he complained, and guess what? We didn't get anything for T.O. He nullified our trade, and you know what? There it is. T.O. went to the Cowboys, and then from there, he went to other teams, and I tell you what, not a T.O. hater. I met him 4 times. Wasn't happy any time that I met him.
Wow.
Just not necessarily. I got several autographs from him, and I give the autographs away because, again, like when you hurt someone's feelings, I don't really need that in my house. I was super happy that I met you. I had something that, I'm a kid and I'm like just excited to meet you, and you autographed it for me. Thank you very much for your time. But when you can't give a little kid like a smile, you can't hey, you're tired. I get it. You've been seeing a bunch of snot-nosed little kids come through the line, and everybody's telling you how great you are. But if you don't have time, and this is 4 times I met you, and you didn't have time for me 1 time. So shout out to T.O.
Round of applause for Brian Culp. That's why he's on here. That's why he's doing it, man. You're a great dude, man. You're spot on.
I appreciate everybody coming on, and everybody has their own feelings and stuff. If you have something that you want to say about a player, go ahead and say it. We want to keep it, respectful because these are players, and some people like them better than other players. But I did meet T.O. and I met Jeff Garcia, so both of them didn't have the best attitudes. So I'm glad they're not on the team.
Oh, Jeff Garcia was some kind of way. Tell me about your Jeff Garcia, man.
Me and my dad pulled up to Jeff Garcia, and I think I've said it a couple times on this cast. We pulled up next to him. My dad had a Mercedes Benz, and Jeff Garcia was in a white Escalade, and we pull up next to him, and he rolls his window down and was like, "Are you guys following us?" Well, we sort of were, but we were just kind of trying to see who it was in the car. Well, we pulled up next to him, and he rolls his window down. My dad's like, "Are you Jeff Garcia?" And he kind of smiles at my dad, and he's like, "Why? Are you a fan?" "No, I'm not a fan. I'm a Raider fan." I'm looking at my dad from the back of the car, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's Jeff Garcia." And my dad's like, "My boy behind me, he's a fan, and I'm in the back with my window, and I'm like, "Hi," right? Just trying to be cool, but I'm trying to see him, right? He looks at us and tells us, "No, I'm a coach." There's not that many 40 coaches that are freckled, bald-headed with a little bit of red fur on their head. I'm like, "You're Jeff Garcia," and we didn't want his autograph autograph. We weren't trying to pull him over or rob him or anything like that. But you know, you don't have to lie to me and tell me you're not Jeff Garcia. You're not Jerry Rice. We know that for sure. So
narrow that down.
but no, I don't have the same. I don't have the same kind of opinion about Garcia as I do To, because I actually physically was like right next to To, like right in front of his face to face. You know, like all you had to do was smile. But you know, hey, smiles are free. But the memories that you did for the 49ers will live on. But let's move on to our next picture because we got a lot of pictures. They're all quarterbacks. Not everybody's here, but there are a lot of quarterbacks here. If anybody has a
black
guess,
and white, but newer kind of ish helmet.
Yes, I couldn't get a color picture of this guy.
Ooh, that was old school there. That's in the 70s there. Look at the cleats. Look at the hair coming out the back. Is that Dwight Clark in the? I think that might be pre-Dwight Clark. You're looking at Steve Spurrier, I believe. Steve Spurrier, I'll say.
Boom, boom,
Wow.
boom, boom, boom. Got it. Yep, Steve Spurrier, our quarterback before Joe Montana, before like during the 70s. I think he competed with John Brody, if I'm correct, or took over for John Brody. So yes, he's another 11 quarterback that we've had. We've had Ty Detmer, we've had Alex Smith, and now we've had Steve Spurrier. So I don't have too much to say about him as far as knowledge because I didn't get to see him a lot, but I do believe he was in between the John Brody days. So that's from like 71 to I want to say somewhere around 77. He might have been on the team. And
we used to be a lot like we were now, but we used to lose to the Cowboys a lot in the playoffs and the AFC championships back in the day. And at that time, I liked Roger Staubach in the day. My dad had me brainwashed. I was young. It was Stockholm syndrome, guys. Y'all have to forgive me, but it was Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Herbert Scott, Drew Pearson, Tony Hill. He had me locked, and that's the man that showed me the game. So I was a Cowboy fan, and you know the 49ers were the nemesis of the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, and you know it didn't end in the 49ers' favor back then.
Well, so shout out to the ladies of the Empire because we were talking about it a little bit yesterday, and not my wife's channel, but the ladies of the Empire, the owners, right? And if it wasn't for Josephine and some of the things that they were doing with the team, we went to the championship in 1971, and we almost went to the Super Bowl against the Cowboys.
That's correct.
We lost, but the ladies had us competing. We were contenders there. We went to, I want to say 3 playoff years in a row, like from like 69 to 71.
Yes,
we were doing pretty good, but we couldn't get over the top, and it was the Cowboys. So I think because of that, you know, and the fans I was watching then, when we got to the 80s, the early 80s, and we beat the Dallas Cowboys, oh my gosh, it was like
Tony, Brian.
It's
They have no idea how big that was, man. When we got over the hump in 81 against our nemesis, the Dallas Cowboys, man. It was so much impacted by those years of losing to them. Oh man, I know the city. I wasn't out there, but tell us about how electric the city was. And I so want this for younger 49er fans. Y'all can't understand, man. When you finally reach that apex, it ain't gonna be nothing like it. Y'all gonna cry. Y'all gonna cry when it happened. I promise you, to a man.
So when we went to the, I wanted to say this real quick. I got to get to both of these things. I think the Niners playing the Cowboys, you know, the Cowboys was big. They were super big. But then by the time we started to play them and beat them in the 80s, that was the end of the Cowboy era. We buried them. And I think it's kind of similar to what the Raiders did to Pittsburgh, because at the beginning, they're both vying back and forth for the playoffs, but the Raiders couldn't get it done. They couldn't get through the steel curtain. Terry Bradshaw went to 4 Super Bowls. And then you look at finally at the end, and I want to say like 1977 or 78, that's when, or 76 or 78, that's where the Raiders went to the Super Bowl. And they finally beat the Pirates. They used to be the Pirates, but they're now the Steelers. So I'm gonna bring Korey back in. I think maybe Korey, you got something going on. I don't know what's going on.
Korey?
You're up there, and we see you down below. I'm gonna bring you in on your computer. I think that's what
I'm leaving. I'm going on my computer.
There we go.
All right, perfect. So we got here. And then I wanted to say, like what you were saying, Tarrerdome, like what did it mean? Like, okay, I was a baby when the Super Bowl happened and stuff like that, and like Dianne Feinstein talking about how it changed San Francisco. But I can tell you when the Niners went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens, I cried. I was super excited when we played the Falcons and beat the Falcons to go into the Super Bowl. And I cried when we lost the Super Bowl. I cried very, very hard. And then with the Chiefs one, I didn't cry that one because I was really just upset. I was just really I knew I clearly seen we were cheated in the Ravens Super Bowl. And this one, I just at the end of the game, seeing Bosa, seeing the pass interference, seeing all these different things, the hands to the face. Even Jimmy Garoppolo, had a helmet to helmet contact, and that could have, he could have had a concussion from that, and that, maybe that's why he missed the pass, right? We don't know, but he could have, that could have been a first down for us. But it wasn't. So, I was just standing there watching the game with my wife and my dad, and at the end of the game, we're not going to win. And it doesn't matter if I cry or not. There's nothing I can do about it. So I think if we win the Super Bowl, I'll be crying and then I'll start talking, but
you are so not by yourself, man. It's going to happen. I was down in Miami with those 7 minutes and 20 seconds left. And I was taking congratulatory texts, and Dr. Rolak, my elder, he's an elder with me as well at church. He was, man, y'all got it. Y'all, you running for 6 yards of carry. He ain't gonna do nothing but take the air out the ball. It's y'all's. And when he texted me, I said, oh, this is the jankiest thing in the world. Don't say you got it before you got it. And they run what's that 22 wasp a couple of plays after. I'm just truly brokenhearted, but I'm saying when we finally get that win, when we finally break through, oh my God, man, that it's a feeling, and maybe I was just so I'm sorry, 49er fans, I was just so incorrigible in the late 80s and 90s with everybody else. I think I used up all of our juju, man. If you would have known me then, I'm a true man of God, and that's some evolution now. That's some evolving now. But boy, back when I was in college in the late 80s and early 90s, no one wanted to see me coming because I dogged 31 teams unmercifully because I knew what we had out there all day, every day. I knew I took bets of 35 points in 1980. I think it was 1989. My boys, Sweet D. I'm not gonna say what we called him, but it begins with D. Anyway, his cousin played for the Denver Broncos. I gave him 35 points, man. I knew we just had it. I knew nobody was better than Rathman. Nobody was better than Craig. Nobody was better than Rice. Nobody was better than Montana. Nobody was better than John Taylor. And that little Denver Broncos team you got out there, man, y'all ain't going to score. I said, we're going to beat you by at least 35 and have my money ready about 10 o'clock Sunday night, and we beat them 55-10. And then, a lot of New Yorkers were talking junk the next year. I was like, man, hey, look, you can sit that on down. I know you got LT. He's from Williamsburg, Virginia. We're going to neutralize that. We're going on to get this three-peat. We're going on to get the three-peat.
It almost happened, but damn kickers, right?
My heart just sunk. It's like, oh my God. No, you didn't,
let's go ahead.
Right?
We'll come back to that one. But let's move on to some of our quarterbacks. We don't have all the quarterbacks. Like I didn't get Carmazzi in here. Honorable mention. I think he's the only 19 that we had on the team, but I can't verify that right now. But not everybody at once. I know this one's a really hard one. So let's remember the numbers too.
Okay. That is my guy.
It could be Brock Purdy.
Rockland.
No, that's not Brock
Purdy. That is the dude. That
we shouldn't need to spend too much on that, right? So then we'll just barely grace this one too, because if you don't know, then you know.
Oh, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. That's my dude. Trey Lance.
Wait.
I love that kid too.
Hey, hold on.
I love that kid too. Look at
that one again. We'll look at that one again. That was a little too quick.
That's kind of recent. That's kind of recent, Bryant. That's kind of recent. I could tell because of the bow. He's drawing the bow, elbows opposed. That football is out a little bit. It's some greatness up in there.
Yeah,
I like Trey Lance too, man. I like Trey Lance.
At this point, we've had 3 13s, and at this point, we've had 3 5s.
Yeah, so I have to say this. I don't care if Trey Lance has a full head of hair or no hair. He's still better than Justin Fields.
True statement. Let me hit the ding. Yeah,
I deal with a lot of Bears fans, and there's one who says, "Oh, he has no hair."
Hey, man, I don't either. But hey, neither does Jordan, neither does Bo Jackson. Hey, it's all good. Hey, come on into the club. We got memberships and we got jackets, Trey. Hey, just take it on. Look at my boy David McNew up there. Hey, man. Hey, the hair is for the girls, but hey, the real ladies like it bald. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Bryant. I'm sorry.
No, you're 100%. When I have hair, Tony runs her fingers through it. Can't pull it. So I tell you what, we'll just leave it clean like that.
Look like that. I see you, baby. My dude. Who is this with the?
I can't even. There's no face.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Plunkett.
Maybe. Ooh, look at those baggy uniforms. That is the 70s.
Plunkett. No.
Let's see.
I think that. Yeah, that might be Plunkett.
That's Plunkett there.
That's Plunkett right there.
That's Montana.
This. You guys want me to tell you?
Yeah, man.
All right, this is Norm Sneed.
Norm Sneed. You went into the crates for that one. Look at those uniforms. They're not fitted. They're a little baggy. They look like little rascals. You can see the hip pad in there, and the fit is just But
imagination, or are they wearing diapers?
They look like it do. It look like the pins. Nothing wrong with the pins. Sometimes
that in there. But see, this is fun because again, these aren't all the quarterbacks. These are just quarterbacks throughout our time, and these are quarterbacks that might have been a backup, might have been a starter, but they're definitely in the game. I try to get as many pictures of the players actually under center or doing something. So yes, this is our third number 16 quarterback. So, all right, we're going to move on. This is not Frank Tarkenton.
Oh, come on.
Jim Druckenmiller.
Korey got it right. Korey got it. Korey.
Druckenmiller. I thought Druckenmiller wore another number, but Druckenmiller, University of
No, he was 14.
He's 14. Cool in the game. Good looking.
This is our third number 14. Third number 14. All right, we're gonna move on. If you guys should know this one, but this one's a little bit. This is hard.
but you guys should be able to get this one.
Steve DeBerg.
Bird.
Yeah.
Steve DeBerg.
Yeah, all three of you guys got that one. See, I don't know much about him. I know he was there before Joe Montana or during the Joe Montana era. Like, he's like 70.
Yeah, he took Joe Montana took his place because his bike, somebody's bike breaking, so he had to go get that fixed. When Joe Montana came in, and Joe Montana was looking good, so Bill Walsh switched to Joe Montana.
Yeah,
I know
Jim
Plunkett was on the team before Joe Montana was there, and he got traded to the Raiders before Joe Montana got there. So I think these guys were probably on the team at the same time, Jim Plunkett and Steve Spurrier.
And his best work came
DeBerg.
later with the Kansas City Chiefs. I can remember him with Kansas City, and he broke his pinky finger, man. He was out there with just this huge wrap or cast on his pinky finger, like in the 80s. But yeah, he was the late 80s guy. Actually, it was Steve DeBerg, and we had we had traded for a rather elderly O.J. Simpson back in the day. O.J. played for the San Francisco 49ers, a little infamous claim to fame. But
like I think only 2 seasons, but I think we got him 77 and 78 or something like that. I don't think he played.
That's correct. It was the latter 80s, latter 70s. Yes, sir. Yeah, it was late 70s.
All right, we're gonna move on to another good quarterback. We probably could all have a good memory from.
Who was that? 13.
I'd say good form, but that's definitely not the case.
Picture.
Sean Hill. Sean Hill.
It says
Yep,
Sean Hill. Oh,
Yep.
the Mike Singletary days.
Yeah.
We just
Hey,
did
do you guys remember? Do you guys remember that play where he was running up he started to take off, his helmet got ripped off, and he just took off down the sideline? Do you guys remember that play?
Yeah, Sean had some rough days. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get the plays in. I don't know who was our offensive coordinator when Singletary was here. And this was pre Jim Harbaugh. And man, we would just take so many delay of games. They just it like surprised them. If Frank Gore ran and got inside the goal line, they were like, "Oh man, what do we do here? We didn't plan on getting here. What's going on?" And it was just discombobulated, man. Again, there's another example of one of the premier and one of the greatest middle linebackers ever to play this game. But man, when you are the head coach, talent doesn't supersede the fact that you're not an overachiever. You don't know what you don't know. And it was really disjointed and discombobulated, man. Everything was basic. You told I scout ourselves. The Bible says, examine yourselves to know if you're in the faith. So I scout us as a defensive coordinator on offense and think about how would I break this team down. Everything was just so basic. We would motion to the side we're going to run to. Everybody knew. If I can decipher it sitting in my living room, I know other teams could. And then we couldn't get the plays in. It was just bad. But Sean Hill, I think he might have been okay somewhere else, but it just was bad. And then he's got the black cleats, Brian. You can't wear the black cleats if you don't have black somewhere else in the uniform. Don't rock the black cleats. It makes you look slow. Don't do that. You're San Francisco 49er. Wear the snow white like Jerry Rice did, John Taylor.
I did notice a lot of this happening during this time. There was, be a lot of players wearing black shoes. I noticed Gore did it. I noticed Alex Smith did it. So I don't know if it was like a uniform thing that they're all trying to do. I'm not a big fan of it. Black makes you look like you got a heavy foot. It just makes it seem like that. This is another number 13 quarterback, so there must be something with this number, guys. But yes, this was a transition. I believe Mike Martz might have been our offensive coordinator during this time, or not Bill Cowher. Who was the coordinator? Norv Turner, possibly. Might have been
Could have been Norv.
Maybe Martz or Norv Turner at this time. But they were trying so much to try to get things right, and we didn't have every piece in place. And it was one of those things, I think, until 2006, until we got Patrick Willis and Joe Staley at the same draft, we didn't start turning things around. And you got to have a quarterback. That's one thing, and it's kind of really interesting with our team right now is we have everything else but a quarterback, and we can't wait. We can't wait for a quarterback. We need a veteran right now. We need a veteran.
It's got to start with your guy, man. It's got to start. And I've been pulling for Shanny and Lynch. Short story, man. I was on the list for season tickets back in 2017, and they called me before the NFL draft, and I told them, look, man, I'm not purchasing season tickets unless y'all draft Deshaun Watson out of Clemson. I live in North Carolina, Southern North Carolina. You got to start with the guy. I need the guy at the helm. And they went out and got Solomon Thomas at number, I want to say, was it 3 overall? What
3 overall.
It was 3 overall. And then they doubled down. They got Reuben Foster, who got thrown out of the combine for acting a fool and arguing with doctors at the combine. To really bring it home, the combine is the premier interview you have for the ultimate job, if you will. And you, what if you go to the job? Whatever your field of study is, whatever you wanted to do in life, be it Google, be it as a mechanical engineer or a computer guy, and you go to the interview and you get to arguing and get dismissed from your interview. Guys, that didn't raise a red flag to you that this isn't the guy that you got to fighting at your ultimate interview, man. And it was just we're still dealing with quarterback. We're still dealing with the position. We're still dealing. I know they wanted to do something a little different, and they might have had Kirk Cousins in their mind, but guys,
we've been talking a little bit about this before, and it's like you said, they wanted Deshaun Watson. They slept on him. They didn't get Pat Mahomes or anything like that. But you go back and you're like, okay, we can correct this. They tried to go get Brady. It didn't happen. They tried to go and get Rodgers. That didn't happen. So then they tried the following year, right? Because we're like, okay, Jimmy can't stay healthy. So we got to do something. They tried to go get Deshaun Watson. But then that criminal thing, the massage thing happened, and the Niners stopped right away. They didn't trade up. There was nothing at that point. There was no capital. Everybody was trying to figure out how would the Niners be able to, accumulate Watson. They don't have anything they could trade. Who are they getting rid of? We weren't worried about that at this time. We were looking for a quarterback. So then at this time, Stafford was down there with McVay, and they were at the hotel. They were in Mexico together.
They were there.
We were going to go get Stafford, but we slept on it. So he's like, hey, I'm already down here. We're already drinking. I'm signing the contract now. One more shot, right? So then what happened? The Niners are like, okay, we can't take Watson right now. We don't know what's going to happen. In hindsight, we wouldn't have really lost too much. I mean, he would have not played that year, but he would have been playing following, we'd have him now. We'd be in the same basic situation that we are now. I'm not condoning what he did or didn't do. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying that. But we obviously went after Deshaun Watson. So now, it's getting closer to draft day. We go ahead and move up. We get the capital that we used for Trey Lance, but we didn't invest the time to look for a quarterback. And when the national media is saying draft Mac Jones, and everybody knows here, the Niners don't draft DUIs. We don't draft DUIs. We don't. So Mac Jones wasn't coming to the Niners. Beer gut boy can go somewhere else. The Niners aren't playing. We can't do that. But, there was definitely some talk in the organization that they wanted Mac Jones. And then Trevor Lawrence came out. He was going to go number 1. Even the BYU boy, Zach Wilson, he was projected to go number 1 for us. Yeah. And we tried to trade with the Jets. And we were like, why isn't Saleh trading for us? Why'd Saleh go after Wilson if the Niners had no interest in him at all? Then there was all the speculation about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jaguars. I'm sorry, Justin Fields. Justin Fields had the medical issue that came out, and that's why we decided to go after him. It might not be the best decision, but then all of a sudden, Trey Lance had his camp, right? And then the Niners had to have a second camp for him. And it wasn't a second camp. So now the Niners can go and see him work out because we didn't at that point know who we were going to go get. And we were listening to the national news and we were listening to everybody else. And the Niners organization still didn't know who they were going to get. And now there's all these stories about Shanahan being on a plane, writing up stuff for Trey Lance and speculating and all this. It's all great. It's a great story. But you haven't developed this quarterback. And now we have a Super Bowl team that we just need a veteran quarterback to step in or a confident quarterback to step in and just take over. And I'm just like, hey, if you're going to let Trey Lance do it, let's see it happen. But now you're telling this whole team that you've built since 2017 to wait 2 more years before we're ready. I'm sorry. I can't accept that. And I can't accept that knowing that we are going to go get a veteran quarterback. And we tried to get Rodgers the night before the draft. And Rodgers would have been on our team if it wasn't for LaFleur. LaFleur said, Kyle, how are you going to do that? How are you going to take him from me? What and then they stopped talking. They stopped being friends after that. So, I mean, if you guys don't believe me, I know you do. You know what I said is true. I'm not speculating. This has been in the news. But now we have Trey Lance and we have Brock Purdy, and we have to roll. This is it. This is our year. Yep. But let's get into our pictures. And we got a couple more pictures, and then we'll have a nice conversation before we jump out of here. Everybody can, give us some thoughts of what they think. I'm going to do this quarterback, and then I'm going to do one of my favorite quarterbacks at the end. So we have to talk about him, even though we don't want to talk about him. You can call him, I'm not going to even say his name.
James
Garoppolo.
James Richard Garoppolo.
Oh, he's a Richard too? Oh, no. James Richard Garoppolo. He was serviceable, man. James was okay. He was, he came in with the splash and, the whole New England thing. But, man, when Bill Belichick is giving you away, buyer beware. Buyer beware, Jim.
I know. Like, I will say this. I will agree with you. He's serviceable. He's, he can manage the game. But when you need to rely on a quarterback to, like, say you're trailing, he's not the guy. It's no attack on him. He throws between the numbers, which is a higher percentage of interceptions. That's why when you watch a lot of quarterbacks, they throw a lot of outside throws. They avoid the middle. So that's a flaw right there. And nothing on his thing. I don't know if he had, jitters after that ACL injury. I don't know if that's still on his mind. We just don't know. But we need someone who can like when you're trailing, do you want to just manage the game and take your time, or do you want to start airing out the ball to get some points quick? And Jimmy couldn't do that.
Hey, it is.
And that's where I would like to say, because I totally agree with that, John. And I think too, honestly, we have to say it. Like, we want to score faster than the team might want to score. We want to know our team can go down there and just light it up really quickly. But if they call the play or the style of offense we're running dictates us chipping away slowly but surely, yes, definitely, you have to play what the coach is telling you to do. But what we want to be able to see is like you just said, when you do need the quarterback to take the ball and put it in his hand and take it over the top, and surprise the defense. I don't think we've seen enough of that from Jimmy, where there was too many times where we were like, okay, he's going to throw an interception, and he threw an interception. Where we became so comfortable saying he's going to throw an interception instead of saying, okay, he's going to do something here. I went to the Niner Packer game opening season, 2 years ago, and he threw the interception. The guy sitting behind me was a Packer fan. He said, watch, Jimmy's going to throw an interception right here. He did. I was so mad. We were right there almost at the goal line. It was like the Packers didn't have the ball at the 30. You imagine, like, if we would have just held the ball a little bit more in certain areas, the Packers, they didn't over-dominate us in that game. We almost won off of if Fred Warner would have tipped the ball, and got us, anyways. But, Jimmy, we want to see when you have the ability to put the game away, we needed you to have your signature moment, and his signature moments was closing his eyes and throwing an interception.
Oh, come on. Oh, don't even say it. Brian, dang, man, you had to bring it up. I saw him close his eyes, and man, you got to be the closest thing I can liken it to, if I could go back to the 70s, man, with Roger Staubach and Joe Montana. These are the only two guys I can remember, and I'm gonna throw Tom Brady in there. If we're down by 4 points with less than 2 minutes, there was a confidence I had with those guys. I just know it. You just feel like, oh, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. The Cowboys back in the late 70s had a guy named Danny White, who was a punter and a quarterback, and he was pretty serviceable. He was really a decent quarterback out of, I think it was Arizona. He wore number 11 for the Dallas Cowboys, and you just knew that this ain't quite it. I don't have the same feeling. I can't put my finger on it, but he just ain't got it. It's something missing off of this guy, and that's the feeling I get with James Garoppolo. He will win some games. We're gonna get to the playoffs, but man, the other 21 players have got to be absolutely perfect and stellar. They can't have a bad game. If we leave it on him, he's going to throw that daggone pick to Warner. Not Warner. Who's my bad? Bobby. It's Bobby Wagner. He gonna and Seattle was looking at it like that. Seattle was like, man, just crowd in between the hashes. Mm-hmm. He's coming to you. Trust me, it's gonna be right there.
Yep.
And it's just a level of toughness you got to have and playmaking ability in the moments. I can't say no more, man. He just don't quite have it.
No worries. Let's see. I see your private chat. Okay, so let's move on, because Jimmy, he was serviceable. We can sit here and talk about him, but I think we've all talked about him long enough. Better luck to you. Hope you do good with the Raiders. I'd love to see the Niners play the Raiders in the Super Bowl with Jimmy as their quarterback. I'd love to get a pick six or see him do safety in the end zone for the Raiders for us. I'd love to see that, but that might just be one of my best dreams or whatnot, Niners beating the Raiders. But there's a couple teams out there I'd love to see the Niners play in the Super Bowl. The Raiders, the Bills. I'd like to see the Niners play the Jets in the Super Bowl currently. We played the Dolphins already. We played the Broncos, played the Bengals. I don't want to play the Bengals again. Just like to see something different there, Played the Chargers. So, but all right, guys, I have one more quarterback, and then we'll have a little bit more of a conversation, and we'll get out of here. But shout out to the chat. Thank you everybody for coming. Hope you guys got to see some cool pictures and enjoy some quarterback talk that maybe not necessarily we have all the time. And, again, shout out to all these quarterbacks, these players of the Niners, their careers here or there, might have started here or finished here, but we appreciate your time in San Francisco. This is my quarterback. that I really enjoyed and really wish we would have given him a little bit longer of a shot. He's what you'd call the journeyman. He's been on multiple teams. When he came to the Niners, this was, I want to say, like 2000, 2002, somewhere around there. Just seen him. Just seen him.
Jersey. I'm thinking. Sorry about that, Brian, but I'm thinking Rick Mirer.
You nailed it. So Rick Mirer, he's a journeyman. He's been on multiple teams. I actually got to go to a city in Indiana, Goshen, Indiana, and there was a bar with, like, the whole bar was just totally decked out with him all over. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm a Niner fan. I'm looking at all the pictures, sports bar, it's really cool, and I'm seeing him everywhere. So I don't know, I'd like to do a little more research on all these guys, but I think he might have lived there or been from there. So my family's from Indiana, so we were really close, just the neighboring town. So got to go see that for a treat. But good food. Can't remember the restaurant's name,
he's a Golden Domer. He's a Golden Domer. He was a Notre Dame guy, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Big in Indiana. Big throughout the country. I'm a fan of the U, but the Golden Domers, man, they are everywhere, and people love the Golden Domers, and they have a similarization to the San Francisco 49ers as well. They wear that Golden Dome, and Rick Mirer was supposed to be it. He was the second coming of Joe, actually. So you're spot on, bro. You're spot on.
He was really good, but again, I think sometimes you get into certain situations and you have to move on, or the offense is, oh man, we're drafting a younger guy, or maybe you get in and you did really well, but that tight end didn't block, or somebody dropped the ball, and what happens? They blame the quarterback. They say stats don't matter. Well, they do, and the most important stat is the W's. So if you're a quarterback with a winning record, you more than likely had success in your league. But he was a Seahawk. He was a Raider. He was a 49er. I want to say he went around to the league different places. So, this guy, shout out to Rick Mirer. Good quarterback. I remember him running in the end zone one time, and he had that helicopter play, kind of like what happened with Rich Gannon, where, or I think
John Elway.
Same situation where they got hit in the end zone. They spin around. So Rick Mirer had a play like that, and I was always like a fan after that. So again, dark days, but you got to root for something during those days.
Do you had a year that this was taken? Because it was after our contract must have been up with Reebok, or before. He's got an Adidas on there.
So Adidas, I know for a fact, was 98, 97, 98, because I have a Steve Young jersey that's Adidas, and that was like 98. So I'm imagining this got to be like 99, 2000, if I'm correct. And I can find out later, but I'll private message you. But yeah, you're right. And see, that's what I thought was really cool about this game, because you can look at the little details and see the Adidas. You can see the different helmet. You can see, the stripes on the jerseys. Like this one only has 2 stripes, but we used to have 3 stripes, and now they went back to the 3 stripes. This is a, Nike. Try to show you my arm. This one's can't do it. Moving around too much. You see the logo? So they definitely around. And shout out to you. You're into apparel.
Is that a Nike you got on? What you got? Yeah, that's Nike there. Yeah. So that's past probably 2000 through. That's 2007 and more. Yeah, that jersey was exclusively Nike, and just subtle nuances. Brian, you know how we do. We're simpatico there. We're noticing, the designs and stuff. Sweet jersey too. What number 3 are you wearing today? Who's on the back of your jersey there?
Oh, okay. I'll show you one more time. I showed everybody earlier. See, this is my fun thing: is you can't cut me.
Oh!
You can't cut me because I'm on the team, I made my spot, So, again, you can have your favorite player, but this is sad because they'll retire too early. I cried when Steve Young retired. I did. I was a little boy. You're not too little, maybe like 10 or 12, somewhere around there. But he got hit. I was super upset. Really didn't understand what was happening during the game. Just seeing him come out, and then the next thing you know, like he's having a press conference, and my dad's telling me, yeah, he's not going to play anymore, and I'm crying because like Steve Young was, other than my dad, Steve Young was my hero. So,
yeah, man. Aeneas Williams on a corner cat. Came and saw my boy, man.
That's I think one of the reasons I don't like the Cardinals, because I think it was when he was on the Cardinals when that game happened.
Yes, sir.
And we weren't playing him. We weren't like the Cardinals was one of those teams, so they weren't our division rivals at that time. So it was just really sad. Bring Stevo back in. I think he wants to talk to Korey before after the show's over. So really happy to be here. So let me tell you guys real quick. I was trying to put my dad joke in the banner. I had a little bit too much fun jumping around. So I'm just going to read you. Okay. What is the difference between a Dallas Cowboy and a baby?
What's the difference?
They both cry.
Well, eventually the baby stops.
But I'm bummed.
That's the dad joke for the day, guys. Appreciate you. We're at like 1:45. Let's go around the horn. Tell everybody where you are, who you are, where they can find you, and then we'll jump off. I think we might have a little meeting after the words if Stevo wants to say something. But before then, let you guys. Well, no, go ahead and go. I'm gonna get set up. So I'll tell you guys my big news. Go ahead, David, if you don't mind. If you want to tell everybody what's going on.
Well, what's going on this week is we got tomorrow we got Dina Harvey coming on the Bryant Culp and McNiner show. I'm looking forward to that one. That ought to be good. And then later tomorrow evening, we'll have the Corey Davis Awards show for the last week's trivia. And that's all tomorrow, folks. And then, later in the week, we got the Corey Davis trivia reverting back to chapter 1, 20 questions. So this ought to be a good one.
Corey D.
Corey, Corey's not here. He'll be back shortly. Sorry. John, what do you got going on? Are you doing a show today?
Nope. As I said, Corey McNiner, we went past midnight. We were talking. We also talked about some other stuff. So that was fun. So I woke up again at 9:30, because I live in the West Coast. So I am sleep deprived. So after this, I'm going to have some lunch, chill, relax. So sorry to all my fans. I just been so busy with work, pulling up overtime. Just so tired. But I'm going to do some shows later this week. But like McNiner says, Dina Harvey, cannot wait for that interview. She's a great 49er fan. She lives in enemy territory in Philadelphia, so we got to look out for her. Then we got Corey Davis, a special Monday show. So I cannot wait for that. So that's what's going on the next few days for me.
Yeah. So Tarrerdome, what you got going on?
I will be on, I think it's either Bashar or Beto this week. I got to nail down. We're moving around the dates. It was supposed to be Thursday. We might have to switch to Friday. I was on Real Talk, Niner Talk last week, man. We had an incredible discussion, man. If you can go back and look at that, about the evolution of the black quarterback in the National Football League. And
is that what Silverado, Kev?
Yeah, Silverado, my dude. You know about Silverado, man.
No, I just talked to him. I was asking about what because I don't think I'm subscribed to him.
Oh man, get on that Real Talk, Niner Talk, man. Those guys are awesome. I shouted out. Bryant was on with me. I saw the great Bryant and Tony Culp. I think they're like Bronny all together. They were supporting me on that one. And hey, man, we're going to always chop it up. I think it's a little bit of a layoff in the next few weeks because, they give everybody breaks before the OTAs jump off. So, all the coaches and everybody have just done mass exited to Cancun, the Bahamas or whatever to get their last vacation days in because it's about to ramp up. It's about to start. Let's get ready for 2023-24. The San Francisco 49ers. You know who we are. We get ready to come and see you.
Mr. Korey Davis, what do you got going on?
Well, going out tonight, so going to my sister-in-law's mother's house to do some kind of celebration. Then Monday, I'll be trying to tune in, y'all, you and Nina and Harvey. I know I'm going to be in Dallas, so it's going to be hard. I'm going to have to see the replay of that. And then I'm doing my 7 o'clock $40 trivia show, result show. I'm all set up for it, ready for that. And then Wednesday with YTC, the Giants trivia. And then the last trivia for the 49ers, Chapter 1.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, we won't be having a show with you tonight. That's but you'll have fun where you're at. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. And there's always something for everybody else to do. So check out everybody else. There's probably like Rombo Sports will probably be on. There'll be a lot of good shows to call into and do stuff with. But so recently, me and David, we've been doing shows on Mondays and having a lot of fun. We bring in different guests, people like Tarrerdome and Korey Davis, and we'll bring on other people like Jon Jay and other great people, Stevo, and just keep going around the 49er faithful. So recently we've had Korey and John, Korey and Tarrerdome. We've had Jess, we've had Tony on. We're going to have Dina Harvey coming on here real soon. She's going to be on Monday. And then we're going to revisit with Korey, and we're going to build the ultimate offense again. It's kind of like an episode where we're going to be doing 3 parts. So we did the ultimate offense. We're going to do the ultimate defense next, and then we're going to finish up with kickers, special teams. So we'll just have a segment where we kind of go over, again, the history of the team, kind of like we did today, and we can just plug and play some players, put them in positions, and have a good conversation about each of them. We go for about 45 minutes to an hour, not too long, because again, it's that time limit, time zone we're going to get into. But Korey, if you need to do the show later in the evening, just let us know. We'll try to work to your schedule. But coming up here soon, we're gonna have Amin the Dream on. We're gonna have Rich Kelt's Chronicle coming on soon. We're gonna have other great people coming on as well. These are shows that are only on Mondays, so it's a short show. It's just 3 of us talking. We can all talk and get some words out. And if you guys haven't liked or subscribed to my buddy David, my co-host, please go check out his YouTube channel, David McNew. It's growing. Everybody else here too has a YouTube channel, and we're all working. And Tarrerdome, when he's up and running, we want you guys to be able to, go and check us out over there on Tarrerdome, and vice versa coming back. And Tarrerdome, we kind of missed it this week. We were all, me, you, David, Pete, and Beto were all on Niner Sicknesses podcast, where we got to all talk together and have a good conversation just about different things. So look forward. Just check us out. All of us were there. We were talking right after you got done with Real Talk Niner Talk. You came in.
Yeah, I jumped in on that. Yeah, I was late. I was late because we went over a little bit, man. But I'm gonna kick it with my guys, man. I know where home is, and you guys are home. Please take nothing any kind of way, man.
You got one hall pass.
Love it, Brian. I get one hall pass. I went to the nurse's office and got an excuse. We used to do that in high school. I was sick.
No, it's just all fun because you don't know necessarily. Sometimes people will start collabing with people, and that's why you should turn your notifications on. And if you go live with somebody, please let the community know, because sometimes somebody will post on Twitter or in the YouTube channel community or on Facebook, and that's how I know how to find people. So look for just anything could happen. So randomly, you don't know, it could be Jon Jay and Tarrerdome next week. There is a dead period coming, but we don't have to make it dead. So one of the things that I wanted to tell everybody, thank you all for coming, having fun. I'm doing this because I have fun. And I do it because I'm talking to good people like you guys. If I wasn't talking to good people, probably wouldn't want to be doing this. But I'm always going to be a 49er fan, regardless of a YouTube channel, regardless if the team goes 15-2, Super Bowl winner, or we'll say 0-17. But that's not happening, right? So I just recently hit 100 subscribers. Been telling everybody, I like my channel. It's kind of like coffee talk. We can come on, talk, cut it up a little bit. So to encourage you to help support the channel and help to do things with me and my panel here as well, because all these guys are really literally my co-host. So each one of these guys has a cup, and if they don't have a cup, we're going to get them a cup. But we're going to be doing a cup giveaway here soon. So if you guys can somehow, some way, share the channel, if you can help grow the channel, that's great. But I'm at 100 subs. So if you are following me on Twitter and you want to message me on Twitter and show me that you subscribe to my channel, we'll put you on the list. But we're going to do a cup giveaway. You don't have to be here to get, an opportunity to be in the cup raffle. But if you're here, it's a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. We'll promote that here in the next couple of days. We'll do like a Saturday or Sunday show where we're going to give away a cup. It's a coffee cup. I have 3 cups. I'm going to let you guys take a look at. If you win, you get to pick which one you want. If you don't like any one of them, and you're like a Seahawk fan or a Patriot or something random, don't worry. I can make you a special cup for you. But we're going to start out with this cup. So if you like something like this, jump in the raffle. Make sure you subscribe to Bryant Culp. It helps if you're subscribed to David and Tarrerdome and Korey and John. It helps, we're building a community, and, then you can see other places. But we have another cup, which is kind of really cool. So again, if this is your guy that you
had it one, I got to have it, Brock Purdy.
Not everybody is your guy, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to, but again, we got a defensive cup, we got a Purdy cup, and we have to have it.
Hey, I'll take it. Love Trey too.
So
Trey, Bay Area.
When we do the cup giveaway, we'll give whoever's the winner the option to choose. And then maybe, depending on how lively we are, we'll just maybe give away the other 2 cups. But you have to be liked and subscribed to the channel. You have to show me proof. You can show me through Twitter or Facebook. You can, we'll figure that out. But we're going to promote this really hard for the next couple of days. And then we'll do something really cool, maybe in a week or 2 weeks with the cup giveaway. But thank you guys all for coming. I'm going to pop Stevo in again real quick because we're going to end the show and check the private chat in case anybody said something that I need to read real quick. And then, thank you, John. Thank you, John. I guess I jumped.
So how does the raffle work again? I cut out for a minute. How's the raffle going to go?
So the raffle is going to work. We're going to figure out how to do like the random numbers or something, but you have to be part of the channel. You have to be subscribed to Bryant Culp, and you can show me proof on Twitter or Facebook, or, basically take a screenshot that you're subscribed to the channel and send it to me, and we'll figure it out. We'll go from there. So I'm going to talk to Mariah because she does this a little bit more, and figure out what the best way to randomly select the winner. And then we'll probably give the other 2 cups away during the channel, and again, give them away to somebody else who's subscribed. And if you can help, share, subscribe, tell other people about the channel, it just helps. It really does. I don't, know how far this is going to take me, but I know I'm having a lot of fun. And this is just something that's fun for me and my wife to be able to help, show you that we appreciate you. Right now, we're just having fun. So, and real quick too, I don't want to spill the beans, but I'm going to tell you, Tony and me are going to try here soon to start doing a 30-minute show, and we're going to try to do a 30-minute show maybe in the morning or the evening. So be looking out for that. It might be a pre-recorded show that just drops, and when there's something that funny that happens that me and her think we could go over really quickly, we're going to try to bring that in. But again, thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate you. Don't go anywhere yet, guys. We're going to go ahead and end the show, and we talk, and appreciate you coming back. And if you haven't, make sure we'll see you next time. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners. Woo.
Go Niners.